All right, here we go again. So I'm not going to do the theme or anything like that right now. To the opening theme, I guess you would call it. To get to this point that I'm about to explain, a person has to be evil physically. Because at this point, Satan is rewarding the evil person. And doesn't mean that they're trans or means they're gay or mean they're using drugs or they're an immigrant or they're a white person or a red person or a blue person or whatever. This is universal. So they do evil things, and gossip is evil. Okay. Gossip is usually witchcraft. That's how witches, devils, sorcerers communicate the spells back and forth. It could be your preacher, it could be Trump, could be Biden, could be whoever you worship in life as the holy angel of God. Could be me, but it's not because I'm explaining it to you. Wait a minute, I've heard that before. So what happens is they have metaphysical projection. So something gets delivered here, pretty ludicrous. I mean, for all I know, my male person uses LSD on the job. I don't know. But the whole series of events is caused by metaphysics, but yet any part of it could be physical, and it's trying to elicit a damaging psychological effect no matter what they tell you about it. Could involve the male person, could not involve the male person. So they ludicrously deliver me a package. So I go up to Pittsburgh by Pittsburgh Road to deliver it. Obviously, couldn't have misread that. There was no other Amazon package in there. So I can tell they were trying to fear me. Don't deliver it. Put return to sender. How dare they? So I said, nah, I'm going to deliver it. I pulled it up online. I'm like, it's not that far. First, I thought it was the business. And I you know, I wouldn't say I'm friendly with the business owner, but we have exchanged salutations as I drove by. But it's the house next door. Now I've seen these people too, and I've healed them. They don't know me, but I know them. Or maybe they know me inside. I don't know. And when I got up in there, I'm like, yeah, pretty rough up in here. I know why I was healing them. Yeah, they cursed. Good people, probably, but they cursed. So I knocked to make sure it got to the person that's named because I don't know who it is. I don't want to be giving it to the wrong people just because it has the address. It's a sizable property too. But when I go to leave, as soon as I decide I'm going to, you know, self deliver it, I have my wagon in the back from I was using that to take the marble from my van to the stairs, so I wouldn't have to carry it that distance. Just slide it onto the little industrial balloon tire wagon, and then pull it over to the stairs, and then slide it up the stairs. It starts clanging, and you have to understand, I could laugh at it, or it could bother me, and that's usually determined by the metaphysics around it. So it tried to fear me. And actually, it's a pattern of their behavior. Something drops and they do something they don't want. And again, it's always good stuff, like being a good person. So they'll say, "Oh yeah, we're trying to get him to stop from raping women. He does it all the time." I mean, whatever the bullshit flavor of the day that they that they're shit eaters think up. And it happened twice. So I get over there, and it is a pretty scary property. But I knew it was a family because, like I said, I go to my storage unit and I see them out sometimes. And I give them the heel, healed the whole place this time. They have about the first thing you notice when you go in there is that they have about 25 of those little kid cars, but they're baking in the sun. So I don't know what they're doing there, planning to melt them down or something. I don't. But he had the vehicle hood up and the van. It was a van, and then so I think he was working on a vehicle. The shed doors were open, but I don't think he was there. I think he went off to get parts or whatever. But I said, "Are you the so and so's?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, here. I don't know why they delivered it to me. I'm over there in the manufactured housing houses. There'd be no reason for deliver something for Pittsburgh, road out in there. Your name doesn't even look like mine." I didn't get, like, if they were younger, I might have said, I think it might be the deep state trying to mess with us. They're like, some millennials or something. Give them an education. Again, the whole thing could have been brought about by metaphysics. Oh, you're trying to make me look paranoid? Well, based upon Luna's hearings, I'm not paranoid. I know you're going to try to say, yeah, it happens, but not him. Oh, no, he hasn't helped us. No, we did this independent of him. He's actually the Marshal Service taught him everything he knows, which is bullshit. When I left, I realized they taught me nothing. I mean, the basic stuff. This is handcuffs. Click, click. So I'm painting one of my what are they called? Chimeneas. They're like mini chimeneas for incense. I paint them red oxide. Red oxide's a good paint color for like traditional Adobe kind of stuff. I don't like the Adobe pink. We'll do some prayers here in a second. I'll probably fill this oil lamp back up. Do that one more day. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I was planning to do it for Shabbat, so I probably should keep it there because maybe if I we'll just make it this whole weekend to christen the ark. No, I didn't deceive Native Americans when I was with them. I always told them, you know, you have generational trauma, but you have to address your social issues without that excuse, or you're never going to get anywhere. Christopher Columbus doesn't put crack pipes in your hands or your mouth. That's the illegal aliens that you're protecting. Oh yeah, maybe he was an illegal alien. Hey, look, I was born here. You weren't. Your families weren't always here. I don't care about Turtle Island or whatever you're going to tell me. You come from China. Now you were here first, but yet what pattern of behavior did you exhibit while you were here? No, this is our land. You out of here. Wait, we're keeping your women too. They want to lie about who they were. stealing land from other Native Americans, stealing women, indentured servants, slaves, sex toy people. That's really who they were, man. So again, only the truth is going to set y'all free. Enough of the BS. Russell Means would have told you the same thing. And Russell Means got to the point at the end, he called it Prison USA. And he was the first guy. Actually, we probably got to that point at the same time, I think. I have to look at it. He's one of the first people to speak about the deep state. That's what he's speaking about. He killed him, of course. So again, they all interchange, but everything is based upon metaphysics and reality, even your mood. But you could say, well, but my cat got run over, and that's what. What do you think got your cat run over? The metaphysics. Right. Mm. But yet, the metaphysics causes physical and psychological things, which could cause metaphysical things. Right. The thing where the deep state tries to get me to curse them, I don't get it. I think they're trying to hide the fact that it's God, because this stuff was also happening before I was even awake. But if I curse you, it's worse for you in the end than it was before I cursed you in the beginning. You ever hear that? It's worse in the end than it was in the beginning. Well, in fact, Native Americans should be helping get rid of illegal aliens. Yes, it is illegal for them to be here. But no, I didn't steal your land. I rent. Talk to my landlord. But based upon the physical, metaphysical, and psychological of Native Americans prior to the arrival of Europeans, there's a little bit of karma in there. Not condoning it, but simply telling you the truth. Same thing in Africa. I know Chris Christie's out there. I hope I didn't curse him into it. I was bad mouthing him the other day. I don't know where it was. Maybe I was talking to my brother. Oh, I couldn't get anywhere suing people in Jersey because Christie was there, and Christie's were linked to the Justice Department, and that's who's involved. Right. So I told my brother, I couldn't get anywhere with him, right, being the governor. At that place, he's deep state, man. He'll do whatever deal. At least I think Trump learned not to do the deep state deals. At the first administration, they were doing deep state. Now, I can't tell you which people it was, but the inference was it went back to the White House. Yeah, they may have been panicking that I was driving to Bethel Park, not to protect anybody other than their criminal enterprise and the crimes they've all committed all those years. They may have arranged for that to be misdelivered. Not testing anyone, all of you. That would be ludicrous to think that you're testing somebody. So today's the last hot day at this level, I believe. It goes below 70 degrees at night tomorrow. At least I thought it would. Unless Putin fires up the weather laser again. I would see if there's something going on like that. Who knows? You could shoot some energy into the ground and it causes a heat wave. What was I going to look at weather? So yeah, I'm going to write up that suggestion eventually. So we already have some PennDOT properties, and it just take a little bit of work to turn those into an inspection site. Oh, there's a couple ways to do it. I'm not sure how you do it and how you feel comfortable doing it, but you could even just pull them over, say, "Follow me," and then follow you into the site. Now you want to spread them out because you know how that works. Whatever deterrence you're looking for isn't going to work if they, know exactly where the thing is. Again, I don't know if you're not usually doing like speed trap. I don't think for that. Right? But even for something like speeding, right? Now, as far as okay, a truck inspection generally. Well, I guess yeah, he could be throwing dope out or something. You put two vehicles on it, and that would kind of make it risky. But so again, when interdiction comes in and traffic regular troubles, but if you're just doing, a vehicle inspection, you can do it there. Just an average every day. But an average everyday one could turn into an interdiction. And I guess that's the issue. And they'll learn where your inspection sites are, so they, right. But again, that's the only way to make it safer. Unless we take over the brain of the cars and steer them into these sites as they drive by. The reason I'm confiscating your ability to drive, you're going 75 and a 55. Do not attempt to adjust the outer limits. Do not attempt to adjust your controls. I'll write up for what it's worth. I mean, obviously for interdiction, the problem is we need to get the number of drugs down in the country, and then this will all make sense and be easier. Again, when Biden was in there, I had certain standards for the whole thing. I was saying, yeah, we did need people coming in, but we pat. The problem is, like this Haitian dude, 2024 was not when we needed people. If he did it the way I told him to do it, the inflation would have reduced earlier because we had enough people here. They just weren't working. They were selling drugs. They were sex trafficking, living off of the government dole. I told them if somebody, unless they're like elderly and have a legitimate, amnesty case or disabled and have a legitimate, they have to work or they're gone. Otherwise, again, it's going to happen the way it happened because the inflation won't reduce when it needs to with the number of people here because they're not helping reduce it. In fact, with all that fraud and all the embezzlement and all the benefits it may have caused. Again, benefits at a certain level, again, there's a drop dead point. So benefits at a certain level are well, but if it goes over a certain point, which it obviously did, I mean, one person with millions, hundreds of millions. I mean, if you're an honest Democrat, there's a golden lining to all of it because we actually probably solved the majority of poverty if the money wasn't stolen. That level of money was sufficient or funding. So it was actually within reach because that was the whole I would not say quandary, but the whole aggravation. I guess is how much money does it take? I knew we were healing it metaphysically, so I knew there had to be something up that was demonic countering it. And there are people, just want people to have less and be sick and be disabled, be dead, get raped. I mean, their desires of that world that I speak about is just terrific and it's just endless. It's all based upon narcissism and sociopathic behavior and desires. I mean Trump. See, then they do that. That's their answer. It's like a spell right now. Oh, it has to do with Trump. It probably is a spell. So if he would have did it the way I told him to do it, and they represented they were doing it, and they proved that they were deporting people, but it was a calculated scam. Well, I would have said by 2022 we'd have been there instead of 2025 or 2024. Actually, yeah, the beginning of 2024, I think he started deporting some people, but obviously scam. Well, because we did need people coming now. As far as giving somebody a CDL that shouldn't have a CDL or whatever it is, that's something outside of what I'm speaking about. Well, what happened is we deported a bunch of people in the first term of Trump. We were beginning to give H-1B, which is good if it's honest. It turned out to be a criminal enterprise. Come on, India. It's a full on international criminal enterprise. Now Trump canceled those H-1Bs because everything started changing around COVID. But what happened is when the work stopped, they all took time to go back home and other places. And then they went back in, and we needed some of them back in. Now, again, actually, that would have been the perfect time to sit back and work out the work visas and not let them in. Because we never would have had this problem. And actually, we'd have been back quite a few years. I don't believe these people were all continuously here. Not at all. Probably brought in a few loads over the years. So the idea is that the plan that I described would have been sufficient probably 2022. Whereas anybody coming in has to work unless they're disabled or elderly. And then you would have dropped your inflation. Now, you also had to make sure they weren't stealing money. Now, it was the benefits, but it's not, like I told you all, it's not everyday benefits that are going to drive inflation. And if you killed all the benefits, it would harm the economy. But in this administration, you found the culprit. And that was that abuse of the benefits at a level that we never could have imagined. Any criminal money, generally, like large criminal money like that, including narcotics distribution, will cause inflation because they don't give a shit what they pay for stuff. They really don't. They'll go down to the most expensive store in the world and go shopping because the money's not real. It's like monopoly money. It's like the deep state, gold bars, untraceable cash. Woo! So yeah, I believe so. He isn't even part of a like what I'm saying is the Haitian and that came in 2024 isn't even part of that original thing that we needed done if it were if even if it was honest because that would have been completed by 2022 and then we were to tighten the borders because we didn't want anybody in that we can't let the workers go above a certain level. Right. It was all caca. It was all a lie. All right. So stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.